Hello and welcome everybody for joining us today for the BCS Chartered Institute of IT's webinar. This webinar is brought to you by the London chapter, South London, North London and Central London branch. My name is Samira and I am a volunteer with BCS. I look after the early careers and we basically do lots of exciting webinars as often as possible. So like at least every other week there's always a webinar. And yes, me and the team are really excited to have our wonderful guest Zaira, who will be talking all about her career today, of how she was able to transition career from being a teacher into getting her first foot in the door with cybersecurity. And yes, we will be there'll be opportunities for everybody here to ask questions. Please ask questions via the chat. Unfortunately, the mics are disabled at the moment and stuff, but then the chat, we will be reading out your questions. Sometimes if there's a repeat of your question, we might just ask it once. We're not going to repeat it twice. But also, but please do ask any questions and feel free also to connect with us on LinkedIn. We will be posting links on the chat as the webinar is finishing. But yes, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. You could have been anywhere today, but here you are on a sunny day joining us here. But yes, without further ado, I would like to welcome Zaira. Zaira, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Samira. It's a truly pleasure to be here with all of you today. Thank you so much to David and Samira for organizing it, and of course to BCS. I have no words for how much BCS helped me when I was earlier into my career, but I would like to show you a little bit the best things that I learned during this journey, right? And I'm just gonna be completely and truly honest, right? So any questions that you may have, just post it in the chat, please. Towards the end of the meeting, we will habilitate the microphones as well, as Samira mentioned, so we can have a chat. And yeah, welcome on board. As you may have noticed by the title of this webinar and by the title of this presentation, I used to be a teacher, right? But before that, I used to be a train attendant as well, right? So it has been such a journey until I end up working in cybersecurity, and that is completely all right, right? I don't know the position where you are at the moment, if you have been working in another industry and that is why you are here because you are thinking about cybersecurity, if you already start to work in cybersecurity and you are looking forward to keep learning more, or if you are just curious to know about my transition, right? So the main takeaway that I will give today is it's not easy to transition, right? But it is completely worth it. All the links that I will share during this presentation, I will share it by the chat before the end of the call. And any questions that you may have, you can add me to LinkedIn as well. I will also share my LinkedIn profile so you can add me and we can have a chat after the meeting. Right, so why cybersecurity? This is the first question that I asked to all my learners right previously, and that I ask really to everyone that I know that work in the industry or is interested into transition and start to work in information security or cybersecurity. At the beginning of my career, when I was finishing the institute, I was thinking, okay, I'm really good at tech, right? I love it, but I really would like to become a teacher, and so did I. I studied my university degree, I become a teacher, and I was working as a teacher from 6 to 8 years, if I took into consideration my internship as well. And when I started career as teacher, I love it, right? And I had the pleasure to develop different skills, such as, for example, communication, problem solving, and analytical skills. We will come back to those in a minute because those are skills that I still using every single day in my actual role as an analyst. There was a point when I spend more and more time trying to figure it out, technical things for family members, for friends, for colleagues around me, right? And I used to start to think of it like a hobby in an initial term. Since I was a kid, I used to hack games, right, to get access to it. But everyone just told me like, oh, this is not for you, right? This is not for you, just keep it as a hobby. And so did I. So I keep developing my technical skills. You don't need to be that technical, trust me, but I keep developing without even noticing, right, all the time. There was a point when the requests from my family members and friends came more around digital safety. They were all like facing any scams, phishing, right? And they came over to me for advice. So when I used to start to look at it, I was like, okay, I'm good being a teacher, right? I really love digital safety, and I really would like to learn more about it. But how? How can I do it, right? Because teaching is not one of the main roles in the industry that you can get more salary for, just being completely honest here. And I was like, okay, I already have a university degree, right? There is no any specific loan that they're gonna give me for granted. I'm gonna have to pay it all by myself. I'm gonna have to spend endless hours just learning. How can I do it if I need to go on site to a university or a college to retrain? I couldn't handle all the family responsibilities plus personal life plus full-time work with the career transition. And that is when boot camps came along, right? I was just scrolling on social media, trying to figure it out options. How can I do it? Which options do I have? And I was a little bit more down at that time, just thinking like, okay, there may not be options, right? This meal is still just being a hobby. But then I discovered a bootcamp, a cybersecurity bootcamp, and it was one of the first cohorts that they enrolled online. And it was one of the initiatives from the government here in the UK. And honestly, I will never be thankful enough to this country for allowing me to enroll into that bootcamp because that bootcamp, that decision changed my life completely. Why I recommend to self-study, do some self-study yourself, but also try to enroll and peer with others to study in initiatives such as a bootcamp, a course, an apprenticeship, right? It will provide you a structure. And that is really, really important, right? Because at the beginning, when you are starting your cybersecurity journey, you may be thinking, okay, this is huge. There are a lot of topics. I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to go next. And I don't know what I know and what I do not know and what do I need to know, right? To be successful into this career. The first point that I was mentioned when we initiate this conversation was the skills that I gained during my time as a teacher, right? Things such as communication, right? Those are transferable skills that you can take over into your new role into cybersecurity industry. And trust me, sometimes it's not about how much that person know about cybersecurity. It's more about how much that person can learn during the way. We need to recognize our strengths, right? Because when you are new into an industry, the first thought that will come to your mind is, okay, I'm not good enough. There is people out there which study a master, study a university degree, they have been working in the industry for 10 years, and they are not having it easy. Why will I have it, right? Well, forget that, right? That is the imposter syndrome talking to us every single day, and try to recognize your strengths. Evaluate what you already have and how can you use it into your new career. Into the insights of this, right? Think about the actual position that you have. Think about the previous positions that you had. Never mind in which industry those were, right? Never mind if you used to work in education, as it was my case, if you used to work in finance, right? If you used to work in hospitality, there are transferable skills in all these areas. And how I started my career in cyber was because of that, because I enrolled into this bootcamp, right, that I mentioned earlier. And I had experience as a teacher. I had my teacher's qualifications and I learned quick. So after gaining some qualifications and some industry recognized qualifications in this case, and I remember in fact that my first one was with BCS, the CISMP. After gaining those qualifications, after gaining the trust from that company that I was training with, I got a job with them. I passed the interview and I started to work with them, teaching others as a mentor, helping them to get into cybersecurity, helping them to understand the concepts that at the beginning can seem like completely strange concepts for you. I know what you're facing, like ton of acronyms, right? Ton of regulations, compliance. You may be thinking, okay, how am I gonna digest all of it, right? Think first on the experience that you already have, right? In my case, it was education. I have been mentoring others who had experience in hospitals, for example. They used to be doctors, nurses, right? And they start a position within the NHS, for example, as a cybersecurity analyst. Why? Because they were already in, they already had years of experience into that industry that will help them to understand the struggles, the technical challenges that they are facing, the risk that they may be facing, without forgetting as well the customer and the user experience, right? And that is key. So sometimes we just need to think about it as, okay, I will continue working in this industry, but now into the technical aspect of it. I will be their cybersecurity expert. I will help them with the challenges that I face as a user before, right? And that will really, really help you. Confident as well is really, really, really important, right? Understanding where you came from will help reduce your anxiety when you're applying for a new role, right? And the learning curve is huge. Not gonna lie with this, right? But if you take it one step at a time, you are able to do it. If I was able to do it, you can do it. So I'm just gonna give you 3 ingredients for the cyber success, right? Beyond skills, you need to have 3 key things from my perspective, right? You need to be curious. You need to have curiosity, be natural drive to understand systems, ask questions. I cannot stress this enough. Ask questions. You will be asking a ton of questions all the time. And to be honest, if someone new join my team and they are not asking questions at all, I will be worried, right? Not happy at all. I will be really worried about it. We need to ask questions, and we need to ask questions all the time in order to learn, in order to process that information. Be resilient, right? I know how hard it is to be applying to roles one day and another day and months and not getting a response or just getting rejections, right? I know how it feels when people tell you, well, you don't know about that, right? So just step back. You need to be resilient in order to thrive into the cybersecurity industry, right? Mistakes will happen. And don't get me wrong, mistakes are not bad, right? We are here to celebrate your success, but we are here to celebrate your mistakes as well. And be with me on this idea, right? Because when we are celebrating our mistakes, we are learning from it. We all commit mistakes, right? It doesn't make any sense, especially in this industry, to try to hide those mistakes because trust me, those will catch you, right? With no time. But if you are able to own those mistakes, right? If you are able to say, oh, okay, I mess up with this, right? Let me fix it. How can I improve? Here is when you are gonna really learn how to do it properly for the next time. And trust me, after you commit a mistake for something specific, you are not likely to commit the same mistake again because you will remember. And that is how we remember. We human beings, we learn by error and trial, right? And last but not least, be realistic, please, and have realistic expectations. If you are here today in this meeting, or if you are trying to get into cybersecurity because you watch a YouTube video that told you that in 2 years' time you are going to be earning 6-figure salary, that is not true, right? And I can promise you, that is not true. Be here for the right reasons, right? It's true that in the technical industry, right, you can get better salaries, right? Probably than in other industries. It's true that you can get better flexibility, right? You can work remote in some positions, hybrid, right? And you can get more practical experience that way at the same time. But be realistic. This is not Mr. Robot, right? We are not all hacking at 3 a.m. with a black hoodie right into our bedrooms, right? That is not how it works. Be realistic. Forget what they are telling you and try to think again, just coming back to the beginning, why cybersecurity? What is really driving you, right? To get it. Because during the progress where you are starting until you get it, you will have a lot of sleep deprivation, right? You will need to spend a lot of hours just juggling your actual role with your study, right? And that is going to be totally worth it only if you are doing it for the right reasons. That said, it's true that I lost a lot of flexibility, right? When I was studying and working at the same time, and I have been doing that for years nowadays, but it has been totally worth it because that allowed me now to have more flexibility and more time to spend with my lovely ones. So again, it is completely worth it, right? Don't get me wrong, but you will need to put the effort on it. You will need to work hard, right? And play hard later. I got a couple of resources that I would like to share with you, right? I got a ton of resources. I have been navigating into my resource folders for hours, and it has been difficult to pick my favorite ones. But if I need to start all over again, these resources will have saved me a ton of hours and a ton of time just to try to realize where I was going through. So I will show you right now those resources, but I will share the links into the chat before the end of this call, right? So be with me for that one. So the first one is the Jeremy Cybersecurity Certification Map, right? Why is this important? Because we know in cybersecurity, right, you got a ton of certifications, and that sometimes can feel a little bit overwhelmed. And not gonna lie, that was how I feel at the beginning, right? I didn't know which area of cyber I would like to go towards to. I don't know what it was the next step after I obtained my first certification, but this specific resource really, really helped me to pave the pathway, right? So let me show you. There we go. So this is the first one, right? I know that is huge. I know that there is a ton of information here. We are not gonna go deep into it, right? But I would like to show you how it works, so then you can use it at your own free time, right? So we got the different areas into cybersecurity at the top. We got from network security and communication to IAM to security architecture engineer, asset security, security and risk management, software security, up to SecOps, right? Security operations. So where do you need to start? From the beginning. Let's gonna start by the bottom, right? So here are some industry certifications that you can investigate further, right? This is an American chart, right? So be with me for that one. The prices are even in dollars, right? And the main point of this one is for you to try to spot what is your next step if you already gained one of those certifications, right? For me, my first one was the CISMP from BCS, right? The second one was Security Plus from CompTIA, right? And after that, I navigate through it and I thought, okay, this is cool, right? Where I would like to go? Okay, I would like to go to the CISA Plus, right? So you can keep leveling up your game up to the CASP, for example, if you would like to follow the CompTIA route, right? And there are a ton of data here that you can utilize and you can use to help you understand where would you like to go. And don't worry, right? Because this is not something that you cannot change in the future. As you can see, some of those certifications are mixed between different paths, right? This doesn't mean that if you get Security Plus, you will need to be working in risk management because you can be working as a SecOp, right? But it means that you can have a little bit of guidance, especially at the beginning, with everything seems a little bit too much, right, to navigate. The second resource that I would like to show you is the career mapping tool, right? Again, we are looking into the Jeremy Cybersecurity Certification Map, that there are a lot of certifications, there are a lot of routes. Where should I go, right? Okay, cool. Zaira, you mentioned SecOps. What is SecOps about, right? How can I know if my actual skill set fit into that pathway? How can I know which other skills do I need to develop? The career map from the UK Cybersecurity Council is key for this one, right? It will show you tailored roles, responsibility, and growth paths, and you can investigate that further later. But it also has a really quick quiz that you can do, right? In 10 minutes, 15 minutes stop, and then it will tell you where you are at, right? So I'm just gonna open up an example, right? I got it almost filled up at this point, right? But we are going to navigate a couple of questions together, right? It will ask you about how familiar you are with these concepts, how familiar you are about security operations and incident management. Okay, I got advanced knowledge about this one. How familiar are you about software security? Not that much, right? So I'm just going to press unfamiliar for this one. How familiar are you about web and mobile security? I got some knowledge about it. Okay, with the results from all the questions that I didn't show you because this will take way too long, it will tell you your match, right? It will tell you which areas of cybersecurity you are more likely to fit in with the actual knowledge that you got, right? Never mind which ones are, you can click on any of your interests, right? For example, it's gonna say that I am interested in governance risk management. It will tell you how it looks like, the working life in that role. It will also tell you the responsibilities that you will have in that role, which is really, really important. It will tell you which knowledge you need, right? And it will even tell you the skills that you need. And again, know all technical skills. We can see here some personal attributes such as verbal and written communication, presenting logical, objective reasons, right? Or working effectively with others. So that is what it's about. It will also recommend you some qualifications, right? Again, this is UK based, right? The other one was American, and it will give you some real life examples of people already working on it, right? So you can go, you can watch it, you can use it, right? But this is a really, really good resource that I highly recommend. Again, now, when we are talking about certifications, when we are talking about guidance, right? Use Ensure, never mind who is giving you that guidance, right? And I know that in this case it's myself, but just combine that external guidance with your own personal goals. Why are you here? What are you trying to obtain from it, right? Which learning style do you have? For me, it was creating games. When I was learning about the different ports for the Security Plus, I was creating games. So I can drag and drop the different ports, do a little bit of competition with my peers when I was studying, and that really makes a difference, right? Because otherwise, if you don't understand what learning style that you have, it will take longer. So for me, for example, watching videos doesn't work, right? Reading a book, it works, but I will need to take notes at the same time. Just try to understand yourself. And the best way to do this, if you don't know now, is to try to do a mock assessment. Try to do a mock assessment for a certification that you're willing to complete. Try to do a mock assessment about any topic, really, right? And try to study for an hour that topic. Try to study for an hour watching a video and then take the mock. Try to study for an hour another topic completely different, reading a book, and then check your results. And check what is more entertaining for you and what keeps you motivated. Okay, here we go. These are some of the study strategies that I mentioned, but I would like to go a little bit more into this. So my first recommendation is to pretty please go and have some hands-on experience, right? You don't need to be working in cybersecurity in order to add some hands-on experience into your CV. You can build your own home lab. And that is honestly easy. And you may be thinking, okay, it may be easier for you. Right. It wasn't at the first instance, right? But you got a ton of tutorials, you got virtual machines ready for you, right? And you can even use your old laptops into your home and create your own network, right? Use for practice purposes. And building your own home lab is really important because if you're going to be working in a security operations center, for example, in the future, you really would like to understand how you can check what is happening, how you can check if you're being under attack or if that is regular behavior. Which tools are companies out there utilizing? And something that I used to do as well that it was super helpful was to go into the LinkedIn, for example, job opportunities available, right? And check which tools they were asking for. Most of those tools are available for free. You got trials accounts that you can use. If you're studying something, you can ask for a student account, or even you can have a month free trial, right, with it. And some of them are completely free entirely for the whole of your life, right? And I'm thinking, for example, of Wireshark. If you would like to start to check packages, how are those transmitted, in which layer? Because it's not as fun to be studying the OC layers, for example, if you are just basing your knowledge into the theory. But it makes more sense when you are checking what is really going on when a packet of data is being sent from one side to its other, right? And you can even specifically see in which layer that a specific action is taking place, right? Another example is use free platforms, right? I am an advocate of trying to gamify your learning as much as possible, and platforms such as Hack the Box and Try Hack Me are really, really useful for that, right? They got free accounts that you can use, right? It has a limit. My only recommendations for it is please, please, please use your own VPN for it as well. There are other platforms that are less common, and I'm just really would like to talk about Shodan. Some of you may be interested in ethical hacking. I'm just doing research at the moment into how to hack IoT devices. And how I picked that interest was by using, completely for free, a website called Shodan, right? Shodan is completely legal, right? Don't worry, I'm not going to recommend something that is illegal here, but Shodan is really cool because you can identify which IoT devices are out there connected in real life, right? Which vulnerabilities do they have, right? Is anything online that you can take, you can see, you can learn from it, right? Just remember, use it for ethical purposes, right? Do not use it to try to hack someone because the legal repercussions could be way higher than what you were expecting, right? Tenable also, Tenable is a vulnerability management tool, and you can run scanners into your own house. You can check if your home is secure. And this is something really important because if you really are trying to convince someone to hire you to secure the company, you really would like to make sure, first of all, that you got your house settled. You know if your house is secure, you know which are the flags into your house, and you are continuously monitoring this. This will first help you to learn and have hands-on practice on it. And secondly, it will help you to have a more secure house, right? So there's nothing to lose here. There is also the fact that I really would like to mention. There are a lot of LinkedIn posts, right? A lot of cybersecurity gurus out there, right? That will initiate this debate. Certifications or hands-on practice, right? For me, it's the perfect balance between those, right? Complement your reading, complement your study with experimentation to fully understand what you are studying. Because I can go deep into a book, I can learn that book from from the top until the end, right? And then I will forget. Odds are that in a year, I will not remember even 20% of what I study. And that is why certifications need to get renewed. And it makes total sense, right? So for me, the perfect balance is theory with hands-on experience. Now, how to stand out into the job market and why am I mentioning certifications, right? Certifications are the first thing that will help you to pass the ATS filters. When I'm mentioning ATS system filters, it's basically a tracking system that some companies use, right, in order to help them to analyze the CVs that they receive from candidates, right? So I post this job opportunity on LinkedIn, let's say, right? And from that job opportunity on LinkedIn, I got thousands of applicants, right? I don't have enough time to take them all manually. I wish, right, that companies were taking those manually. And I know that probably most of you wish the same. And there are companies out there that are doing it and are taking a specific time to read every single application. But let's gonna be honest, that is not the majority of them. So in order to help you, we need to have a chat about ATS filters, right? ATS filters will basically match your CV with the job description. It will give a percentage of match. And certifications are a huge part of it, right? If I am looking for someone who has Security Plus, right, or CISMP, I will be looking for that certification listed into the CV. And here's really important, please don't lie to your CVs. If you are trying to obtain a certification, be honest. You can include it. You can mention, okay, studying towards my Security Plus certification. But don't put it on there because it is on the job description. And that is really important because they will realize when you join that interview, right? And just be yourself, just be honest. Some companies will highly prefer that you already start that journey and you can continue with them. And that is the joy of this industry because if I learned something during the past 4 years working in cyber, is that everyone is super, super willing to help you with your career. Everyone is open to talk about it. Everyone is open for a message. Everyone is open to help you continue your learning into any organization, right? You need also to tailor your CV. And again, for the same reason, ATS filters, right? ATS filters will completely devastate your application if you are not taking in consideration what they're asking for. Again, not lying, right? But trying to customize each application to the specific job role. No one size fits all CVs, right? And something that really helped me to customize those, but don't waste time, is to do my own research. Go into the job portals that you are using, right? Go and check which specific skills are the positions that you are willing to apply for asking. Try to write them down. You will be surprised how 50-60% of them are common. So if everyone is looking for someone with ISO 27001 experience or knowledge and you got it, right, add it to your CV because perhaps it's something that you never had, right? And that way you don't need to be changing your specific skills every time that you are applying to a different position. You can adapt the introduction. You can adapt and tailor, of course, a cover letter, right? You can tailor your CV, but at least there is a specific area when 60% of those skills you already got it. Coming back, be honest and unique, right? Most of the organizations out there are going to hire you for who you are, for the potential that they can see in you. They are going to hire you for what can you provide to the organization in the long term, right? Everyone needs to learn. Never mind if you have been working for this industry for 10 years or for 10 months. You need to learn new tools. You need to learn new regulations all the time. You need to learn how that specific new company that you're working for operates. So the learning curve is something that organizations out there are taking for granted. What really matters is which personal skills are you bringing? Which challenge did you overcome in the past, right? And that guides me to how to practice interviews. I highly, highly, highly recommend to practice situation-based questions. When someone is asking you if you have experience with vulnerability management tools, think about the time when you use it. And now you may be thinking, okay, Zaira, but I never work in cyber. So how can I provide that experience? Use it. Use it to check for vulnerabilities into your own home. That way, you can explain that situation. You can mention, I have my own home lab built, and I identify this, and this. And based on this that I identify, this is how I solve it. And this was the final result, which is also known as the STAR technique, right? Situation, task, the action that you took, right? And the result. Then to practice for interviews, you can also grab a friend, you can grab a family member, you can grab a colleague, but I highly recommend to have something that you can practice by yourself as well, handy. In this case, is this interview warm-up for Cloud Scale Plus from Google, right? I just would like to show you how this works, right? I will share with you shortly, but basically here, and this is not unique for cybersecurity, it could be for any other IT fields, you can go into data analytics, you can go into cyber. Let's gonna go into cyber here, right? We go into cybersecurity. You can ask to practice cybersecurity or a specific Google Cloud cybersecurity questions, and then it will ask you some questions, right? It will ask you some questions, and the joy of it is that you can reply by typing into your keyboard, or you can use your lovely voice and reply using your microphone. And that really makes a difference because you can listen back to yourself. You can hear your own voice communicating that response, and you can say, okay, let me try again. Let me take it. And it will provide you some feedback, right? So if we go to see all the questions, right? Let's see. We can see here, name 2 types of common cybersecurity attacks. That could be perfectly an interview question. Tell me about the time you discovered an attack. What did you do? Again, situational questions. If you never work into cyber, but you discover an attack for a family member, for example, that was my case. I was trying to help a family member with their website, and I discovered that they had a keylog embedded into their code because they download the code from somewhere else and they didn't even realize. So then we stopped that, right? Again, you don't need to be working on it fully in order to get that hands-on experience. You can create a hands-on experience yourself, right? What processes can you implement to ensure user data is protected? If you never implement those processes, try to think how would you do it and be honest with your response. Say, okay, this is what I did, right? And then you get some feedback from it. And that is really, really helpful, especially if you are trying to prepare before an interview, right? It just really helps to warm up. Okay, one of the last but not least, the power of networking. You need to have a chat with others that face the same scenario that you are facing, because otherwise this career switch, this path feels really, really lonely, right? I can tell you how much it helped me to join that bootcamp, mainly because I was able to meet other peers that were experiencing the same, right? We were talking about how less time we had to study. We were talking about the different experiences that bring us here, the different industries that we worked at before, and that really makes a difference. It's not used to look for other peers that are facing the same scenarios that you're facing. It's also for look for a mentor. And when you got knowledge enough to become a mentor yourself and give it back to the community. Because in this industry, again, everyone is super happy to help you, right? So don't forget when you join to do the same for others. There was a mentorship program where I volunteered for a time, which is called Cyber Mentor Dojo, and you can sign up for it, and they will pair you with other that is looking for some advice from specific areas that you listed on it, right? You can manage those sessions as you wish. You can ask to your mentor, what do you really need help with? It could be CV preparation, it could be interview preparation, it could be anything that you can think of, even more technical skills that you would like to develop. So this program is just one of those that is out there, right? I know that BCS also has a lot of opportunities available for those sense. So use what's out their website as well. Check out for mentorship programs available in your area or even online, right? Because I remember just mentoring someone who was living in Portugal, right? And it is possible and you can get a lot from it. Try to check if someone that you already know is working in the industry. Don't be ashamed of sending that first LinkedIn message. If someone is working in a company that you really would like to work on in the future, or you are really, really impressed about what they are doing, you send a message to someone. Send a message to someone and tell them, hey, I don't want you to share any confidential information with me, but please, please, do you have a minute so we can talk about your journey? We can talk about what do I need to keep developing? And you can give me your honest opinion about what I am doing and what can I do to keep improving, right? Internal mentorship is also key, right? Depending on the organization that you're working on, you may have some annual reviews. You may even have an internal mentorship program. I have one of those right now, and I am amazed about how good and how valuable are those internal mentorships. For internal mentorships, just think of it like, okay, what about, let's go imagine I'm working in a school, right? I'm working in a school. Let's go imagine right now I'm working in a school, and I really would like to get into IT. I know that my school has computers, right? Does my school have a specific IT department? Do I know that? Shall I start to ask that question around me? When I have my next review, can I just step up and say, hey, do we have any covering sessions or any IT sessions where I can help students to improve their IT skills? You never know, right? I remember when I was a cover teacher, when I was studying the bootcamp, I need to switch jobs to start to cover some teaching sessions in order to have enough time to attend the lectures. And during one of those, there was a case when their Python and Java teacher was off sick last minute. They didn't have any cover, but I was there and I stepped in until they found another cover teacher with the proper qualifications to teach it, right? And I learned a ton, right? Just by vigilating what they were doing, they were teaching me at the same time. And sometimes it's that, even if you're working in a completely different industry, you can ask, you can communicate your interests. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And perhaps that can help you. I remember again the case that I have with one student who was working as a nurse, right? He was completely focused on getting into IT. So during his CPD talk with his boss, he mentioned it. And his boss recommended him joining an apprenticeship. And within months, he's still working into his same hospital, but he was working into the IT department while he was completing the cybersecurity level 4 apprenticeship. We will talk about that in a minute, right? Build connections, right? Stay active in social platforms such as LinkedIn, right? Be careful what you post, right? Because the digital footprint will stay always there, right? So try to do a little search around it and be open to career opportunities. Attend events, right? BCS has a ton of events that you can attend. Some of those are online as this one, but others are on site. So you can actually be there, be present, meet people, and keep those connections in a long time. Okay, as I was mentioning the apprenticeships, right? I used to be a mentor for cybersecurity level 4 mainly, apprenticeships and a couple of level 3s. I can tell you how lucky this country is for the offer that they're doing with apprenticeships. Apprenticeships, for those that may think, okay, Tara, what are you talking about? Apprenticeships are the perfect chance for you to gain that practical experience while you are getting paid, right? While you are studying. So it's everything that you are looking for into the same pot. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? The salaries may not be exceptional. Some of them are really good, right? Are really good. In my case, I had to take a pay cut when I was doing my bootcamp in order to have enough time to study. If I need to come back when I took that decision and do it all back again, I will have enrolled into an apprenticeship. 100%, 100%, right? It will help you even with some providers to obtain some official industry qualifications. So why not try it, right? I will share with you the official link where you can search for apprenticeships and you can also investigate, right? Even if it's in cybersecurity or in any other IT area that you may be interested of. This is the apprenticeship website, right? And you can search, you can find apprenticeships online. You can search for how many are available right now. So you can take, for example, let's gonna take in London, right? Okay. And let's gonna take for cyber and we can search, right? Be with me. This doesn't give me any results. Okay. We got different here and then you go into the job categories, right? Over here, you can see technical where you are. Okay, we got digital over here. Let's see what it brings with the digital ones, okay? We got from accounts assistant apprentice to a data apprenticeship. We got a digital support technician apprentice, right? We got with a group for the technical support engineer apprentice, another data analyst apprenticeship, data engineer degree, because apprenticeships do not stop on a level 4, right? There are degree apprenticeships as well. And it's good. It's good just to keep an eye on it. You never know, right? So you can take even the weights that they're offering you. And trust me, it's not that bad. You are going to be training. You're going to be learning at the same time that you still maintaining a wage, right? And you can still pay your bills. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? It's one of the routes that is available, right? A lot of people always mention like, okay, Zaira, but what about, shall I do a degree? Shall I do an apprenticeship? What shall I do, right? Again, if I start over from the beginning, I will definitely do an apprenticeship because you get hands-on experience from day one. And that is 2 years of experience worth it into your CV. By the time that you finish your level 4 in cyber, for example, you already got your qualifications, plus you got 2 years experience. So you are not gonna start as an entry level. You already been there while you were studying, right? On the other side, I'm also finishing today, in fact, a master degree in cyber, right? The main reason being I really would like to keep learning because I really like research. I really like to do theses. I really would like to do a doctorate in the future. But that is me, and that is my objective, and that is why I'm doing it, right? Otherwise, I will have select, and I always say that I am a firm advocate for level 4 apprenticeships, right? And level 3 apprenticeships just as a starting point. And then from there, you can decide where to go. You can decide if you would like to join a degree apprenticeship or use a degree, right? Or if you are done, you would like to keep getting certifications to keep yourself up to date. Again, gain practical skills, right? During that apprenticeship, that is key for me, and obtain recognized credentials. There is another debate, and I'm just going to be completely, truly honest with this one as well. Technical versus non-technical roles. Zaira, do you need to be technical to work in cybersecurity? Short answer, no, you don't need to be technical, but it helps, right? So I'm just going to be honest with this one. Technical is a plus, right? My first thought when I start to work in cyber and when I start to learn about cybersecurity was like, oh, okay, cool. I really would like to become a hacker, right? I really would like to know how this works. So let me enroll into an ethical hacking course, right? Lovely, brilliant. What about networking? If I do not know about networking basics, I cannot become a hacker. And that is a reality, right? You need to have a minimum baseline, right? So starting for certifications such as the Network Plus from CompTIA is always a good option because you need to know the basics before you jump into the next step. Trust me, because if you don't, you will need to come back to it later on. Choose what suits you, right? Align your career path with your interests and strengths and goals. For example, if someone used to be a lawyer, right? And they really truly enjoy legal reviews, they truly enjoy reading through documents and trying to spot the legal requirements, you will be amazing in compliance, right? Because you got to review some legal reviews every single day. And you will truly enjoy what you are doing. But it doesn't make any sense is to join something because you really would like to be part of this industry because of the salary, because of the flexibility. You really need to enjoy what you are doing. Because in the long term, otherwise you will get burned out. And that is the truth. So there are some positions with that say that does not include and does not require technical skills, right? You can follow on awareness. You can be providing training for others. You can be providing cybersecurity awareness for organizations. There's a friend of mine who got an escape room organization, used to go from company to company doing escape rooms to ensure that they can have a solid and robust cybersecurity awareness into those organizations. Again, magnifications. And because they were really, really good into creating games before, as it used to be at the time as well. Management. Do you have experience in management? There are some roles within the cybersecurity industry where you don't need to be hands-on. You need to manage a team. And if you got experience already managing a team, don't get me wrong, you will need to understand the basics around cyber, but you got more than half of the way already done. So just think of your actual experience, where you are good at, right? And from there, you can start to plan. Something that really helps me as well was to try different things. For example, I never thought that I would love forensics. Never thought of it. And it's one of my favorite topics within the cybersecurity industry. Why do I take? Because there was a tool out there that it was available for free, Autopsy, right? And I just started to play around with it. And I love it. And then I start to dig a little bit more about it. And I love it more and more and more. Also, if you don't know what you like into this industry yet, try to spot what you do not like. On the other side, if you are someone that is not feeling right for you to be reading through a document for hours, compliance may not be for you, right? If you're someone really curious that love to be active and jump from task to task every single time and have something new every single day, try a little bit about SOC, security operations, right? There is a place for everyone within this industry, and trust me, they really take as a benefit the experience that you bring from other industries and other opportunities that you had in the past. Be aware of scams, right? When you are applying for roles, and I'm mentioning this because I think that is something that is not really mentioned in all of the conversations that I have been present. And nowadays, it's more and more likely that you are seeing job opportunity spot out there, there are scams. And by scams, I just don't mean like, okay, you click on a link, you get fish. No, it's not just that, right? There are a lot of opportunities out there that are just literally done to try to get your money. Fake promises such as, okay, we will give you a guaranteed job, right, by the end of this course, but you need to pay 6,000 upfront. There are a ton of opportunities out there available, such as apprenticeships, as I mentioned, when you can be gaining money at the same time that you are learning instead of being paid, right? There are really great courses and official certifications that are expensive, don't get me wrong, and more than recommended to join them if you can, right? But it's not mandatory. You don't need it. And please, please, please be aware of the scams because there are a ton out there right now. And even your opportunities when people just interview with interviewer and they ask them to purchase some goods that then they can not return and they have been sent to another location. So again, trust your instinct, right? Just think about it as you will be taking if something is legitimate or not, if you're working in cyber, right? And take research for reviews, instructor, company history before enrolling, right? That really helped me when I took the decision to enroll into that initial bootcamp, and it was worth it. The key takeaways from here before we go into questions and we spend more time together and you can talk as well. And it's not me just doing all the talking. Use your experience, right? Remember what you got, right? And use it on your advantage. Stay curious and practice. You need to stay curious in order to thrive into this industry because things change every single day, every single minute. So you need to be naturally curious to open a newsletter every single morning or be checking for the latest news, latest vulnerabilities, latest 0 days, and learn how those impact you or your organization, right? Mix theoretical study with hands-on practice and just have fun. Just play with some tools, right? Be strategic and honest. Last one, right? Tailor your approach and the jobs to what you really want, not what others are telling you, right? Try to stay authentic and always network wisely. Okay, cool. And that is me. So we are going to open up now for questions and answers. I hope that nobody just fall asleep when I was talking.
No way. That was excellent. Thank you very much, Zaira, for that presentation. Absolutely fantastic. You've covered so many. I just hope everybody was making notes. I was even myself making notes and stuff. You gave really lovely golden nuggets and a lot of gems. And I just feel like definitely there's going to be a lot of questions coming up. So we've asked people to think of questions, and we'll take some as we go along. But just to start off the first question, for those who are interested as in your job, in your current job as information security analyst, what does a typical day to day in your job look like? If you were to give us a snippet, obviously not every 2 days is the same, but if you were to tell us about your day to day, what could that look like, just so people can visualize?
Completely agree with what you just said, Samira. There is no such a thing as a typical day in cybersecurity, and that is why I love it, right? It depends, right? I recently changed roles, right? But I'm just gonna compare between my previous role and my actual role, so you can see the two sides of cybersecurity, and as more specifically information security, right? So in my case, I work as an information security analyst, right? Previously, I work as an information security analyst, more based into a security operations center, right, into our security operations in-house, right, role. So that means every day you woke up, you receive incidents, you receive requests, you are trying to fix fires all the time, right? That could be one of those. In the second hour, right, you can be going deep into a vulnerability scan results, trying to identify what the vulnerabilities are, trying to reach out to different teams so they can fix it. Into the next hour, you can be on the other side reviewing a pen test report. That is something that I have in common and I'm doing nowadays, right? You can be helping customers. You can be helping acquisitions, right? Because when there are mergers between companies, there is a lot of security requirements that you need to align to, right? You can be doing questionnaires. That is something that I am doing at the moment and I used to do as well. You can be doing questionnaires. For those that do not know, questionnaires is basically like a set of questions, right? Normally really long. When companies that are willing to be clients of you or work with you really would like to know what is your security posture, but they cannot obtain everything from your website, for example. So they need more specific details. And there is a security professional on the other side that is replying to those questions, right? You can be also supporting during an audit. And that is one of my favorite areas, right? You can be supporting during an audit, helping to gather some of the policies, you can be also updating those policies, right? So I have been doing it all. You can be doing even some internal pen tests. I mean, that is the joy of it, right? There are no 2 days that are the same, and it will depend on every organization, of course, right? But for me right now, it's more about helping customers understand our security posture and trying to walk in their shoes and trying to understand what is really important for them and how can we support them. And that is something that I bring as part of my transferable skills from my previous roles in hospitality and as a teacher. So again, you never know when those skills will become handy, but you will definitely use it.
Absolutely. Those transferable skills is the way forward because a lot of people, like you were just saying, think that you need a cybersecurity degree. They think that you 100% need a cybersecurity master's. I mean, it's good if you have them and you can still get the job, but it doesn't mean
Absolutely.
just because you don't have like an education of cybersecurity per se, it like there's a lot of people with lot chance who transition into career. Like even me, like I've got a degree in law, and then I was able to transition. And I just think it's really important to think about like what kind of jobs have you done before. Like again, my jobs previously have been non-technical, the same that your same jobs that were not technical. I've worked in customer service, I've worked in HR in the past, and I think it's really important to think about what you've got. Like you've said, you made a really good point where you said use the transferable skills that you've got, the soft skills that you got, and add, like, do your home lab, for example, go do try hack me, go to networking events, and basically make a package. Because right now in 2025, and I'm not sure about the people that currently some of the people might agree with this, but I think the 2025 job market has been one of the toughest that
Mhm.
I've seen, and I speak to people lots of times over, and I think anything that we can do to show that, okay, I've got this, I've got a bit of volunteering experience, I was able to do this home lab, it really helps you. And I think one of the things I really love that you said, Zaira, as well, is when you said that looking for a job hunting or trying to like change careers and transition into a new career, it's a really lonely journey. It is tough, right? Especially if you're trying to do everything on your own. And please, for anyone who's doing it on their own, remember we're all here to support you. Do reach out and whatever you can do, and attend those networking events. Because guess what, when you do a networking event, like for example, like last year I was made redundant from my job, and then when was made redundant from my job, I remember thinking, oh god, like I felt like I was having a pity party, as you do. You're like, okay, then you feel a bit sorry for yourself, you're trying to apply to jobs, you're getting lots of rejections, and it's easy to stay in that cycle of and I feel like when you talked about networking events, that's what got me out of the house. Obviously I wasn't going to networking event every week, because who's got money to
To
when
do
you're
that, yeah.
go on a train every day into London and go on a networking event? But I think even if you try to go to a networking event online, like online is a great way to connect with people. Go to a networking event maybe once a month, somewhere that you can as well, whether it's London, whether you live in one of the regions. There's like lots of networking events. You just literally go to Eventbrite and Google cybersecurity networking events. There's going to be lots. There's organizations such as B-Sides, and I'll put the link in here as well. They do lots of free meetups, so do go, because A, you'll meet professionals, like Zaira said, you'll meet other professionals, and B, you'll meet other people who are also doing the job hunt like you do, where you can brainstorm, and you're like, oh, well, I've applied for this, I'm not getting any luck. Are you getting any luck? And they tell you, no, but have you tried this or have you done that? You don't know who you're going to meet. So I really like that point that you made, Zaira. It was really, really great point. I really enjoyed it. But then how did when you're applying for jobs and trying to get your first role, how did you overcome rejection, Zaira? Like to any roles, like
Oof.
yeah.
I am still receiving rejections nowadays, which is like it's funny though, because it's like, well, I think that I applied to that role like 2 years ago, but thank you for rejecting me. It was a little bit depressing, especially at the beginning. I consider myself really lucky and really stubborn, right? So that is perhaps why I was lucky, because I never stop. And how I like to focus it is like, oh, they reject me, they don't know me. They don't know
Yes,
me. It
it
has
doesn't
been the
matter.
ATS filter. They don't know me. If they know me, they wouldn't, right? And even if this happened after you had a couple of interviews with them, always follow up, because you never know which connections you are going to build after that. You can be said, no, we don't want you to work for us, right? At this moment, in this time, for this position. There may be another candidate that fits better, right? There may
Absolutely.
be an internal opening, right, for that specific role as well. So on that sense, keep that connection. If you really connect with the interviewer, I remember like into my actual role, I used to even say during the interview, like, okay, if it's not for this one, I really would like to keep in contact with you because I really believe in what you are doing, right? And I was being completely honest. Again, if that was not the case, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say that, right? But it could be the opposite. Always think about it like, okay, you are also interviewing them. And I really would like to highlight this. This is not like, okay, I'm in the market, you will need to assess me, you will need to say if I am valid or not. No, you are the only one that can assess how valid you are, right? And you're valid, right? Trust me with this. You're valid, you may not be the best fit for that position. And I wasn't for hundreds of positions that I applied, right? But you are valid and you got this and you're gonna obtain it. You keep applying, tailor your CV, share those experiences with others, and there is nothing wrong of having a bad day because you are human as well, right? And if you're depressed one day, welcome to the club, right? It happens to all of us. Never mind how successful you are, right? I know people that are on the top of their career and they're like, oh, it doesn't feel right. Nobody's gonna hire me if I face a layoff. When it's like, no, true, right? You're gonna get it. And if I ever need to do everything again, the only thing that I will do more is to share more those experiences that I was having because you just make fun of it. Like comment with a peer the rejection email that you just received a minute after you apply because it's impossible that someone had even time to read through it, right? So you
Mhm.
think of it like what is positive, what is good that I can obtain from it.
Absolutely, absolutely, exactly. My record has been definitely like 2 minutes rejection after you're playing. You're like, what's wrong with the ATS? But I've got a tip for that. If that happens with you with the ATS, if your CV is in PDF, change it to Word documents because sometimes some
That's it.
ATSs don't like PDF. So if you get a rejection within 2 minutes or 5 minutes, it's not you, it's the ATS. So what I
That's
would
it.
do is redo it with from another email address. I don't know, make up another email address, change your CV format to Word document. It could be that they didn't read something, or maybe you've got one of those infographics. Did you know ATS as well? When you've got those beautiful
Beautiful
infographics,
experience,
it
yeah.
doesn't read it.
But I really love what you just mentioned, Samira. Like, what is wrong with this ATS? No,
Mm,
that is the question that we should be asking ourselves. No, what is wrong with me? And that is really,
exactly.
really important.
Exactly, and I really liked how what you said about handling rejection. Make sure that it's not you, they don't know you, don't take it personally. It's never, it's not us, okay, it's them, we're too good for them. But no, just definitely try again and don't take it personally. And I like the point where you said as well to just follow up with the recruiter as and when you can, if they're not ghosting us, of course, but just to follow up. And see, okay, just keep that line of communications open and definitely reach out to other people that work in the company as well, and see who you can connect with as well. Okay, so we've got quite a few questions, so we'll try to cover as many as we can quickly. Someone said, do you know if the Google cybersecurity course is worth doing from your experience?
The Google cybersecurity course, I started, not gonna lie, never finished it, right? Because I enrolled into the bootcamp again, fully honesty from my end. It is worth it and I love it, right? It wouldn't be my first shot if I am being completely honest with you, but it really helps me to understand a little bit more about cyber. I know that the Open University has a free, completely free course as well available about an introduction to cybersecurity. That is the first initial one that I did when I was kind of deciding cybersecurity, data analyst, what I would like to do in IT. But the Google courses are really highly valuable. But I don't think that the certifications are going to list you into the top applicants when you're applying for roles. Do it more for yourself. Do it more for yourself for learning purposes. Do not do it for listing that certification under your CV.
Thank you very much for that. Absolutely. Do it for yourself, but it's not one of the most top, like when you compare it to CompTIA Security Plus, or when you compare it to SANS, like the GFACT and all of that.
Hmm.
But it's definitely something good for knowledge base, like a foundation is really good. Thank you, Zaira, for that. Someone else said, thank you for the talk. My question is, I feel like my CV is very education heavy. I've worked as a teacher, music, and then CS for 5 years. What practical methods can I use to emphasize my transferable and technical skills? I really like that. Yeah, question. Yeah.
That is a really, really good one, right? Have you been using any tooling? when you were being a music teacher? Perhaps you had been to use computers, probably. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any system, any tracker that you can use to track the progress of your learners? Is there any data that you can input or output from it? Is there any summary that you can generate with that? If you're still working in that position nowadays, try to do it. Try to do it to improve your actual metrics, right? In terms of it will help you with your actual role, but it will also be something tangible that you can talk about in the future. And again, build your own home lab. Because for me, it was more like, okay, I'm teaching today when I was a cover teacher, I'm teaching a reception class, right? What can I possibly include in my CV from teaching 5 years old, right? There is no math, but actually the application that they were using to communicate with parents was awful. So let me improve it. Let me try to summarize what we are doing. Let me try to ensure that no confidential data is leaving that platform. And that is something that she definitely can use, or he can definitely use for that CV. Like you have been handling personal identifiable information, extremely sensitive because it's about students, right? Which may contain as well some health information, right? That goes under HIPAA as well regulations. So you can include those. And those are words that into a job search they will be looking for. And you can add it into your CV. And I believe that I have it added into my LinkedIn as well from previous roles. So keep an eye on it. But if not, feel free to send me a message through LinkedIn and I can copy paste what I did back in the day.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a great tip. Absolutely. Like in every job, there would have been something like, data, like
Mm,
the sensitive data that the teachers are handling. Or it could be
yeah,
even that, you worked in a restaurant, for example, and in restaurants, you're using those point of sale machines. Obviously, you have to keep that receipt safe and put it in the till or whatever it is, and making sure that that's hidden from the view of the customers. There's always ways to word it. And one of my favorite tools is like, everybody, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, just literally put down, I'm currently
use it.
working as a teacher. This is what I've done previously. How would I word this? And how can you make it craft me? Sorry, how would I say it? Sorry, worked as a teacher. This is what I've done. So just give it like feed the AI the information that you need, and just say what other transferable skills did I have in this kind of role, and it will literally list that. And all of them are things that you would have done as a teacher, but it's just that the AI comes with it, and all you have to do is reword that into your own words, because you're not lying. You worked as a teacher. This is what you did, but the
Yeah.
AI helped you enhance it.
100%. You have to follow GDPR regulations. I mean, just use it. There is
Yes,
much more that we all have all done that we don't even think about it until we just realize and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I have been doing that. So just add it because it's your truly own experience.
absolutely. Like when people say, "Oh, I'm not really technical at all," and then you'll be like, "Okay, then in your job, do you use Microsoft Office 365 package? Do you know how to use Word, Excel? Do you know how to do emails?" Those are all still technical. The fact that you're computer literature, literature, I can't say the word. The fact that you know how to use the basic computer skills, that shows that you are somebody who's willing to learn. Okay, so definitely don't. I mean, for example, on your laptop, most of us always use antivirus. That's still technical. Those are things that you are thinking about. So there's a lot that you can think about. And again, write those notes down.
There is someone in the chat that used to be my very own mentor as well. So hi Phil. He mentioned as well like if we agree that ethical responsibility is also a very important transferable skill within cybersecurity roles, and absolutely it's not all about hacking systems as he will mention. Is all about the ethical responsibility that you have. And probably as a teacher, you have a lot to include as part of it, right? It's just like you need to understand what are we using, why are we using it, right? And what is the ethical use of it? And that comes from tools to even devices when a school is deciding which devices to utilize and for which purposes. So absolutely, definitely, and I can be thankful enough for the mentors that I had earlier in my career, including Phil.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Zaira. Okay, we come up 5 minutes before. Sorry, we've gone 5 minutes past the time, and I can see in the chat we still have. So what we'll quickly do, everybody, is we'll take two more quick questions, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. But definitely do. We did put the LinkedIn. Zaira, I did post your LinkedIn at the beginning, but maybe if you just share it again as well, so
Yep.
anybody else who's got any questions, I'll share mine again as well, and we're happy to connect afterwards. But one of the other question is, somebody said, let's see. Somebody said, what home labs do you recommend?
Ooh, home labs. I recommend building your own.
Yes.
And to build your own home labs, you can, let me give it to you,
Yeah,
but to build
which
your,
home lab guide can I follow? So
okay. 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 Let me share something with all of you, right? There was one from they're from different universities, right? I remember learning from Microsoft, from the official Learn Microsoft path was my first one. So let me just share it into the chat as well. But in terms of toolings that they can use as well, there are a lot and a ton of forums and a lot of videos on YouTube. I don't remember which specific one was, but after taking the virtual machines on Microsoft, that you can literally learn the practical hands-on when you get Microsoft certifications as well. I remember just going into YouTube video, checking the tools that they were using, checking that those tools were safe, and then use it. So that will be really, really helpful. Again, I can do some more digging and try to spot the specific tools that I used earlier at the beginning in my career. But yeah, we can look at it together, and I will be more than happy to share it if you would like to message me as well.
thank you, Zaira.
There is also companies like you may know as Oracle. You can download their virtual box machines, and then from Microsoft directly you can download a specific virtual machine that you can then embed it. So it's really easy. I always recommend if you're trying to get into cyber to learn about Linux. So if you never used Linux before, try a virtual machine with Linux right on it and try it because it comes with a lot of tools already that you can use for cybersecurity purposes, and it will be totally worth it. And it will save you a ton of time. Plus, it won't be the first time when you're in a role when you will need to use Linux command lines.
Absolutely. Thank you, Zaira, for that. Okay, and then the last one we've got is actually somebody quickly wondered what kind of what kind of teacher were you? What like subjects did you teach?
Oh, I teach everything out of my career. I started as a primary school teacher. As you may have noticed by now by my accent, I am from Spain. So when I moved here, I was learning English as well as I go, but I was a teacher still. So I decided to start with nursery kids, especially at the beginning because I was learning the language with them. And this was 5 years, almost 6 years ago. And then from that, I moved to primary school again, up to college and A levels to end up with. And I was teaching everything by the time that I was a cover teacher when I was studying cyber, from photography to physical education to even maths and literature. So yeah, a little bit of everything.
Excellent. And then the last question we're going to take is, okay, somebody said, what did they say? They said something about GRC consultant. Let's have a look if we can quickly find it. I just had it, and then you know when it just disappears. Somebody asked, what is your advice on remote opportunities to work as GRC, cybersecurity consultation? Is it still at the early stage, or opportunities or more opportunities out there? Thank you.
Those are still out there, I can promise you, right? I am an advocate for remote work opportunities, and this is because we can retain so much talent this way, right? And I was doing as a mentor a bootcamp back then in the day about Java for software engineers when all of the attendees were women. And most of them were mothers, right? Most of them were mothers with kids into an early age, and they couldn't commute far away to go into an office. I completely get the needs and any objectives that you may have to work remote. And good news is, yes, there are remote opportunities out there. Try to search online. There are a ton of LinkedIn posts that will go through the different websites when you can obtain like specific names for companies that are remote first. What I did back in the day, ChatGPT, right, is your friend, Google is your friend, use it or lose it, go over there and ask which first remote companies are hiring within, and then include your country within the UK, right, or in London, right? It is true that remote first companies normally have like some regulations, so you need to be based into a specific country that they are hiring. But yeah, it is possible. Yes, I have been working mostly remote for the last 4 years, right? And I wouldn't be the one that will be coming back running to an office. That said, I truly enjoy working remote. I'm way more productive working remote than working into an office because if you didn't notice by now, I talk a lot. So I can get easily distracted. So I prefer to be myself and get things done. Plus, you can go to the gym, you can spend time with family and friends. It's amazing. So yes, there is chance out there. There are opportunities out there, right? But again, earlier into your career, I need to commute. I need to go to the office now and then. So sometimes you can reach a fully remote position, but you just need to wait a couple of years. So be open to hybrid roles because some companies are also open to negotiate. And every opportunity and every candidate is unique. So just be open to have that conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with now, a lot of companies are getting people into the office. Is like a lot of the jobs that you see is hybrid, but there are lots of companies that are still doing remote. Few and far in between, but there's definitely still are. But thank you so much, Zaira, for your time. That was the last question. I'm sorry to keep you 10 minutes extra, but we
Oh,
really enjoyed and the interaction, like everybody else, we're getting lots of great feedback and comments. But definitely, thank you everybody for joining us and your great questions that everybody shared. But yes, let's connect on LinkedIn and we take it from there. But thank you everybody, and please join us for our upcoming future events. We've got lots more. Keep an eye on the Eventbrite, and I think already my colleague David did put a link for our upcoming one as well. We've got an AI cyber event coming up as well, so join us for that as well. But thank you, Zaira, again. Great webinar.
thank
And
you
yes,
so
I'll
much,
chat to you in a
Samira.
minute as soon as we finish. Thank you,
You are the
everyone.
best. Thank you very much. And thank you, BCS. And thank you all for attending today. Have fun, right? And enjoy this journey because it's going to be excellent and it's worth it.